Well, roster mania continues, and many people are finally getting some of the answers that we have been uncovering for the last couple of days. Some of the things that were leaked or known are finally being confirmed, and then also more roster updates are coming out, as well as roster drama with how the whole Falcons situation went down. So let's talk about what has happened in the last 24 hours, some even 48, but we do have some updates with organizations, even with like E8, what's going on with that roster, and Moist Esports as well. So first off, Liquid did say we parted ways with Yanya. We all knew that was coming. It still kind of hurts me. I never wanted to see the Pollos Hermanos boys kind of separate, but it is what it is. They did that. Bleed is also going to be picking up Yanya from here on out. Kind of expected that as well. Then you move on to some of these other roster updates that were happening, right? We saw MT possibly leaving. Well, no, not possibly. He was removed from the Guild Esports teams over on Battlefy. And then you see this coming out from Guild and Pricey, like Team Burger. Like, what's actually going on here? Well, obviously there was a lot of bait involved, and then Moist comes out to officially make this squad known. And boy, I gotta say, I was not really expecting the MT addition to this, although I will say I do like the team, right? We expected Don to have a pretty good experience with Zainu and Koifel after they just literally won LAN. Not surprised that they decided to pick him up as coach. Then you've got MT coming back home, obviously just playing on the other side of the world, coming back to North America, obviously it seems, with Zainu, Koifel, and Don as well. So Don literally just came out about playing, taking a break or something, and having to do this across the world and the time zones and how it kind of affects your health, and then he comes right back with this North American roster. So but I obviously understand why. It's a huge opportunity here for the whole squad involved. So MT, Zainu, Koifel will be the team at LAN. Obviously this is a very talented roster that we are all expecting to do well. You've got two heavy hitting shooters with Zainu and Koifel. MT, a very well-known veteran when it comes to being an IGL, obviously one of M&K's best. So really like this roster, and we'll see obviously how they're able to perform at Champs and moving on into BLGS as well. Also, huge news, as you guys know, Phony has been looking for a team, and since the split of the SSG roster, we did not think he was going to find a team in time for Champs, which sucks because it just is crazy to think about. Despite once again all the drama behind the roster and the people that were involved, it is still crazy to think that someone that could win LAN, especially the most recent LAN, would not be at Champs. Well, with MT added in all of this, Phony has now been added to Guild, and so he posted earlier, time to get to work, moving to APAC South. What a crazy set of events. Phony now, obviously desperate to get his ticket punched in for Champs as he deserves. He's gonna have to make the move across country or across the world in order to play this, and obviously I don't think many expected this, but given the circumstances, can't say I blame him. Now we've also got some updates or some conversations going on with the Falcons esports roster. Obviously you guys know there's been a lot of talk about Falcons, the super team splitting up. What happened and how did it all go down? Well, there was actually some controversy behind this. So if you saw our last video, you've already seen Hal talking about how Zero and Jin Burton splitting up has kind of been a long time coming. This is not really that big of a shock. It's not that big of news. We all saw this happening, at least behind the scenes. Everyone knew that there was an internal issue, and we tried to report it over a year ago. However, there's also been like the way that they had to address this situation, being that Jin's birthday was like the time that they found all of this stuff out. So here's first Hal talking about them trying to address the situation, and then we'll get into what Jin Burton had to react with about it as well. First off, roll Hal's clip.
But this whole thing is Falcons bought a lot for both Gen and Zero, so we were worried that they were even going to allow us to get rid of him in the first place, because they have the right to reject us when it comes to that. And two, we weren't sure if they were going to be able to buy out Moist, the Waltzy and Draugr, and that's another thing. So by the time we figured out all of this shit and confirmed everything, it was Jen's birthday. They're conveniently, it was Jen's birthday, and I was like, do I tell him now it's fucking his birthday? I'm not gonna be like, hey, happy birthday, but by the way, you're dropped. So, and coincidentally, Timmy fucking told him on accident. So yeah, it was just all conveniently just yeah. That's basically how it went.
So after you hear Hal talking about that, you've also had Jin Burton reacting to Hal's stream and talking about all the drama, or talking about the videos that were going on and what like they had to say about the situation. Jin basically had two situations, one where he just kind of addressed and talked about getting dropped by Hal, dropped by Zero, and then also calling out Hal for not being honest about him. This is one that definitely had a lot of conversation and controversy around it. Roll what Jin Burton had to say.
To be honest, for me, like, I know Zero for a long time, and it just wasn't a surprise to me at all. Let me explain what I'm mad at. What I'm mad at, I don't care that I got dropped. I don't care about that. The thing that I'm mad at, or I got mad at, is that I had no notice. I genuinely had no notice that I was going to get dropped. I found out 6 days before roster lock. 6 days before roster lock by my own teammates. No, I didn't find out by my teammates. No, I did not find out by my teammates. Guess who I found out by? I found out by It's Timmy. My teammates didn't even tell me that I'm getting dropped. I found out by It's Timmy, who messaged me. I didn't find out by that. 6 days before roster lock. And the only team that I could get in 6 days, I've asked around, but I've got dropped and I found out. I went to Hal. I have DM recorded of that, saying that, is this true? And he said, yeah, it's true. And I'm like, why didn't you tell me? I don't care that I got dropped. At least just respect me in some way. Just tell me that I'm getting dropped. Or like there's going to be a change happening. None of them said that.
We thought the roster lock wasn't going to be moved because roster lock initially was going to be like right after Germany was finished. But then ALGS moved it, which changed a lot.
Wait, Chad, did he just say that roster lock was supposed to be 1 week after Germany, but they moved it? So if it's rumored to be earlier, wouldn't they have talked about it earlier?
Right.
That makes no sense. Like what? If it's earlier, if it was earlier and then they moved it, obviously they talked about it way earlier. Like probably. There's no way. They would have had an idea if they wanted to do a change, in my opinion. Well, I've told Zero, I've told Hal, maybe not Hal, but Zero. I've told Hal, Zero specifically. I'm like, if you want to do any changes or whatever to the team, just let me know. I'm not someone that will bitch about it. I won't bitch about it. If you want to do a change, I'm fine by that. Just let me know. I literally told him.
5 days, it could have been worse. Like, if I was deliberately going out of my way to fuck him over, I could have just lied and be like, no, that's not true. Like, we're not kicking you off the team. It's not true. It's not true. I could have lied. If I really wanted to be a piece of shit and deliberately fucking him over, I could have lied to his face and said, no, you're still on the team, and kept him.
Now pull up DMs. Now pull up DMs or what? Because it's pissing me off now. Because I have DMs of him before I found out, 5 days before I found out, or 4 days before I found out. I asked him, yo, I went to him, I messaged him on Discord because we're all radio silent after LAN, right? I went to him and I said, yo, what's going on with the team? What's with the radio silence? Can you let me know? Is there a change happening? He said, there is no change happening. So isn't that basically fucking me over?
So crazy stuff, to say the least, going on behind closed doors. I'm honestly surprised that that team, Jin Burton, Timmy, and co, did not get picked up by Moist Esports. But I guess, you know, at the end of the day, it is what it is. You move forward, and then you also realize, you know, you had Timmy accidentally telling Jin that he was getting dropped, and now Timmy is teaming up with Jin. So it's a little bit of a weird conundrum, but I'm excited to see how the whole beef situation goes at LAN, right? Like, you've got all these tension, you got all this tension, you've got all these animosities, if you want to call it, towards one another. Regardless, though, I think it's just going to create a good competitive environment. Everybody wants to win. They want to prove that you know, you shouldn't have dropped me, you shouldn't have made this change, I wasn't the problem. So it's going to be a very good champs, I think, especially considering that we're getting the location that we wanted. A lot of build up for this one, so I'm excited and I cannot wait for it. Now E8, on the other hand, they do have a ticket punch to champs. However, Will they actually be E8? It comes out from JMeyels that himself, Slayer, and Lou will be looking for an org to represent in Japan. Of course, we did cover Lou coming over to E8 just recently. However, E8 not being a part of this is a little bit of a sad situation, but it does look like maybe they might try to get out of the scene, or at least they don't want to be buying these big expensive rosters anymore. So Zach may be looking to move to a different organization come champs time. So they are now looking for new opportunities. Which organization will step in? Will it be DSG? They did say that they weren't necessarily out of Apex. They just kind of wanted to reevaluate their situation, right? Maybe this is a cheaper roster that you want to go for. Maybe they're cheap. I don't know. They actually might not be that cheap. But regardless, I know that DSG wants some representation there at champs, I'm sure. You know, there's only slim pickings when it comes to rosters that need to be represented. Maybe they decide to go to a different region. Who knows? Time will tell. And of course, we'll keep you updated. But that is where they are going for now. Also wanted to mention, I think a big one that many people are still a little confused about, right? The whole Legends gaming situation. They had this champ spot. Player K, Strafing Flame, look, they want to go to North America. Strafing Flame, obviously one of the biggest and more respected players from the APAC South region, coming over to North America. And now you've had officially Easy Flash Kids has been removed from the Legends gaming spot as well. So this will be interesting to see, because we thought, well, what if there's a world or a situation where that spot gets forfeited from Strafing Flame, since he does technically have like the tiebreaker for that champ spot. But if you do have a certain roster situation happen, right, where if he gets an offer and it makes sense and he has to leave his coach and he's just going by himself to a team that already has another champ spot, like we literally just saw with the Moist Esports roster splitting up and GHS getting in. So a lot of stuff can happen, and it isn't necessarily to say that you know, you couldn't have a situation where things could have worked out. But regardless, these guys split up. Easy Flash has been removed from the roster. Now at the time of recording that, it looks like we got that answer, and maybe things didn't work out so well when it comes to the North American conversation. Arctic, former FaZe member, posted that he will be teaming with Strafing Flame and Player K, so both of those members from Legends Gaming, obviously, for BLGS and for champs. Very thankful for the opportunity, and over to APAC South soon. So it's Arctic making the move from EMEA over to the APAC South region, and Strafing Flame and Player K will be staying there. And I think this honestly is a little bit of a weird change. Like, obviously I know Arctic's a good player, but I don't feel like things were going necessarily horrible with Easy Flash, Strafing Flame, Player K. They had a really weird land where you know, they got to miss the first day of group stage, and I feel like the whole vibe was kind of chalked from then. I'm surprised they made a roster change off of that event. But to go from that to this, I don't necessarily think it's groundbreaking or anything. So a little unfortunate to see that roster move personally. Interested to see where Easy Flash goes and where he falls in the end. Interested to see what your thoughts are about all the conversations with roster drama, roster updates, and going into champs. Who do you think is the best looking team on paper? Because that's all you got right now. Not much scrim stuff or not much tournament action going on besides the recent Steel Series one that we had where Bleed was able to take it. And I think that we're playing with Yanya, right? It was this unknown Raven guy. So pretty sure that is Yanya that was playing under a different account. So interested to see what your thoughts are. Let us know down below. And until the next time, we'll see you all later, Gators.